something else though maybe that you could chat about here, and that is the life in the Spirit in Galatians 5, like Galatians 5:17, and the way that we walk by the Spirit, put into death the deeds of the flesh, and maybe even how that relates to another controversial text. I'm trying to bring up as many as I can. That's Romans 7. And what's the right way to read Romans 7? Is that speaking about Paul as a Christian who has this ongoing struggle of the flesh and the spirit, or is that talking about pre-converted Paul or whatever it might be? And do you think that Galatians 5 informs that discussion when it comes to the potential of the Christian life there in Romans 7?
Yeah, yeah. Well, just on the spirit, it is very striking, isn't it, that Paul will say, 5:16, walk in the Spirit step by step, or 5:18, be led or governed by the Spirit. And there it's been interesting, right? If you're led and governed by the Spirit, you're not under the law. And then 5:22, the fruit of the Spirit. 5:25, stoikao, march in step with the Spirit. 6:8, sow to the Spirit. Of course, if we look at Ephesians, be filled with the Spirit. So I think Paul wants to say, in this part of the letter, yeah, the Spirit is the gift of the new age. It's an epochal gift, isn't it? The new covenant has come. The Christ is risen and ascended, and the Spirit is poured out. He's the power. He's the power to live the Christian life. But there's an overlap of the ages, right? 5:17, there's a struggle. And I've gone back and forth on this. My students laugh at me even because I've gone back and forth so much on Romans 7. So I'm in print even on different sides of the issue. So I think that is a very difficult thing. But where I am in my commentary and where I am now, and actually my 1998 and 2018 commentaries on Romans pretty much agree. And I like the recent dissertation by Will Timmons. And by the way, for those listening, he has a nice summary of it on Gospel Coalition that you can read, a nice summary article. And that is that Romans 7, I think, does include a reference to the struggle that Christians have. I mean, many good interpreters disagree with that. But that what Paul is focusing on those verses is the capacity of human beings in and of themselves. And I would say is insofar as the already not yet, there's a not yet in our lives, still informs our lives, but that Romans 7 describes in part what our lives are like as Christians. Now, I want to just be quick to say, since we're having just a conversation, I think when you put Galatians 5 and Romans 7 and 8 together, that Paul's fundamentally optimistic. I mean, I remember teaching this, and a person said to me, "This is how I heard Romans 7 growing up. We're just utter failures as Christians. That's our lives. We're just failures." So, I think that's a wrong way to appropriate what he's doing in Galatians 5 and Romans 7 and 8. So I think he's fundamentally optimistic, and I actually like the way Francis Schaeffer puts it in his book True Spirituality, that as Christians there's substantial, significant, and observable obedience. I think those nouns are very good: substantial, significant, and observable. But I think what Romans 7 is talking about, and he's talking about coveting there, right? It's which is, in the desires of our hearts. Our obedience is imperfect. We're flawed, and we're broken. And I've been a Christian for a long time, worked in Christian institutions all my life, and I see it in my own life, and I see it in my brothers and sisters. There's still we're all flawed and broken, and we don't fully see. I don't fully see my own sin. It's easier to see the sins of other Christians, right? But it's there, and that's how I understand it. Yeah.